The word belonging holds together the two fundamental aspects of life, being and longing. The longing of our being and the being of our longing. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Brighton Unitarian Church. To those of you that are joining us here in the church and those that are joining us online. For those that are new here this morning, we offer a very special welcome. We've been here for over 200 years. We practice a liberal faith, and we encourage you to think about what God means for you. It may not even be that word. It may be wonder, maybe a questioning. It may be the divine, or it may be nature. Bring your whole self to this service. So let us start by lighting our chalice. It is not by chance that you arrived here today. You have been looking for something larger than yourself. Inside of you, there may be a yearning, a calling, a hope for more, a desire for a place of belonging and caring. And so you seek a community that does not put fences around love, that holds its arms open to the possibilities of love. A home to nourish your soul and share your gifts. As we light this chalice, may this flame guide our way in those principles. We will fall and we will fail, but the light will guide our way. Let us come together to pray together. I use the word God in this service. I ask you and invite you to choose whatever resonates with you. Divine Spirit, God of all love, we find ourselves in this sacred space this morning, bringing our imperfect selves. May we be reminded that our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self-acceptance. May it be so. We sing our first hymn this morning, number 193, We Laugh, We Cry.
To
So this morning we're talking about a sense of belonging. And our first reading is called How Hungry You Are by Jan Richardson. You hardly knew how hungry you were to be gathered in, to receive the welcome that invited you to enter entirely. Tentative steps became settling in. You began to breathe again. You learned to sing. But the deal with this blessing is that it will not leave you alone, will not let you linger. This blessing will ask you to serve, not because it has tired of you, but because it desires for you to become the sanctuary that you have found. How Hungry You Are by Jan Richardson. You only get a little pause. We're singing again. 83, just as long as I have breath. Our second reading this morning is called Becoming a Unitarian, and it's by Melissa Harris Perry, and it's read by Kathy.
If you join Unitarians, you can hold any opinion you want about the existence of a God and what to call that God. You can change your opinion over time. You can follow your conscience, your readings, your thoughts, and your desires on issues like the existence of an afterlife, the idea of sin, the value of prayer, or the authority of religious texts. We seek a straightforward commitment to the fluid, open, collective work of seeking our truths together without assuming that we will all share the same truth. Our faith is a practice of intellectual humility, reminding us of our own limitations. Our faith assures us that we are not alone and that we can be part of something greater than ourselves. The journey is the joy. The companions are the comfort. The work is the faith.
Thank you, Kathy. We come to a time of reflection. For those of you that may be new here, there is always space in the service for us to have some space with our own thoughts, maybe the reflections of the readings, or to be led by the following words. So make yourself comfortable. You may wish to close your eyes. I'm going to read a couple of paragraphs and then we'll sit in silence together. There'll be music that will follow. The greatest barrier to belonging is fitting in. Because when we fit in, we assess a situation and acclimatize. When we belong, we bring ourselves to it and say, "This is who I am." Where are we in our belonging? Let us come into a time of prayer together. Mysterious source of all being, Spirit of life and love, we open our hearts to receive the cries of the wounded in our communities. May we be strong enough to turn toward and not away from the wounded soul. May we wrap our arms around those longing to be held. For those that come through our own doors, who seek love and acceptance. Just like a tapestry, we are a woven, gathered people, shaped by our connection. Let us stitch together those who desperately need to feel that they are belonging. Let us put our hands and our hearts to the sacred work. The remaking of a tapestry, one big enough to hold us all. To connecting and reconnecting, to living within the thread, to belonging and becoming. This most human and most holy work. Amen. We take our collection. This church is autonomous. We don't have a fairy godmother. We are the fairy godmothers and the godfathers and all the rest in between. If you have anything spare and you are able to put it in our little pouch as the music is played, we're very grateful for your contribution. And if you need to do that by a card, please do that after the service. But your contribution is also so welcomed about you being here. And I'm also aware that some of you pay in a monthly way by that magic internet thing. So yeah, we'll take our collection and Zoe will play for us. Thank you. Thank you, Zoe. And thank you so much for your generous contributions. Our first reading by Jan Richardson begins with that poem of addressing hunger. Perhaps we've always been in a situation where we want to be inside the circle rather than standing outside it. We want to belong. She talked about those tentative steps that help us across the threshold, make us feel part of. And we get that feeling of, oh, I know what's happening. Now I'm feeling comfortable. It's quite similar to church, I think. We come here, maybe we don't know what to expect, and over the weeks and months, we get into some sort of comfort and groove of how things work. And then she talks about shaking us to be part of and further create the sanctuary we have found. I'm wondering whether the true blessing of belonging isn't that you come to get and be inside the circle, but it's you get to participate in expanding it. Some of us have been here for a long time. I should say some of you, actually. I'm quite a little newbie compared to some of you who have been here for 25, 30 years or so. And for others, just taking their tentative steps. And for some this morning, I know it's your first time here. Some of you have shared this space with others. Come, I found this space, come. And others I know are very quiet about what they do on a Sunday morning. But finding somewhere where you feel a sense of belonging, I think comes with a sense of gratitude. Or maybe at first a bit of a relief. It's like finding your tribe. And that gratitude often then leads into generosity. As we know, the best way to say thanks for a gift is to share it and protect it. But what are these things called belonging? I belong to a swimming group. Pretty obvious, we all swim. But we don't all swim in the same way. Some are head to foot in wetsuits, others run in a bikini, some dip their toe in, some are off to the farthest buoy, some just want to have a chat and a giggle, some need somebody to hold their hand. I'm sure many of us here maybe have groups or choirs or whatever we belong to. There's normally a common thread that brings us to that group, even though we may be very different. But have you ever twisted the shape of yourself in order to belong? Or perhaps you may have avoided belonging because of the fear of the very same thing. Some of us, as children and adults in fact, felt that we didn't belong. We may have been the gawky kid in the ballet class. We may have been the person at the back who was struggling to read. We may have been the one that desperately wants to play football but doesn't know our left foot from our right foot. That's the only football metaphor I have today, you'll be pleased to hear. And so we move around, we're trying to find our place. Maybe sometimes we've gone, well, where do we belong? Perhaps we don't belong anywhere. I know that followed me even when I came here. I breathed a sigh of relief. I was like, oh, I can be myself. But then I started to question, can I really be myself? And then during ministry training, I was reminded that no one group can grant us true, unconditional, perpetual belonging. That, I have to say, was a bit of a shock. But it was swiftly followed by some wise words about fitting in. If we think about our connection to this church or maybe other spiritual communities that we may have belonged to in the past and perhaps still do, my sense is, and my hope is, that we can come here and share our most authentic self and share the sacredness that we're discovering within ourselves. And that may require us to sometimes stand in the wilderness. And what I mean by that is not stand outside the church, but stand within the church, within a community, but feel, oh yeah, I don't believe what they believe. How does that feel for me? You're in your own spiritual wilderness, but surrounded by a community that understands that. The words that were wrapped into our prayer earlier on about true belonging doesn't require us to change who we are, but it requires us to be who we are. I'd like to own them, but they're not mine. They're Brené Brown's. She talks a lot about trust and vulnerability, being part of, but being ourselves. I'm going to share a very adapted story that I heard last week when I was at training in Great Huckler in Derbyshire, which is a place where it's our Unitarian little home, our retreat centre, I guess. We were actually talking about conflict and resolution, but somebody gave this story about belonging. And it was somebody that was part of their church for a long time. And they talked about the fact that they were returning to church, but didn't think they could find a place where they could fit in. They were an atheist. They had no faith in God and can't subscribe to any religious doctrine. The minister said, "What's your name?" They said, "Oh, Don." And they said, "Oh, I'm delighted you're here today. And you're not only welcome here, but I'm pretty sure you'll find people who share your commitment to ethical humanism and your suspicion as any form of theism." In the 10 years that Don was part of that church community, they never stayed for coffee. But they did join the congregation as a member. They took on various leadership roles, and they cherished the time of sharing. Like many, he appreciated the time to sit in a quiet space, time to stand and sing. Apparently, Don had an amazing voice. He belonged, and he knew it. It didn't matter that he never came for tea. And I was left with that sense of our description or sense, or your description of sense of belonging is very different to each other's. I know some of you stay for tea every week. Some of you depart out of that door at 12:01. I used to do that. Some come really regularly, some come irregularly, some come online. But I think when we come to a sacred space, we're inviting each other to the spiritual practice of believing in and belonging, not only to oneself, but to something greater. We're not asking people to fit in. If we did that, committee meetings and all the rest of it would be so easy. But we're not. We're not asking you to fit in. Some of you, when you came here, may have been relieved to find that there wasn't a subscription to a creed, or you had to sign your name in blood or make a stamp or whatever. You could just be with yourself and ease yourself in gently. Being together in a meaningful way is profoundly important. But it's not the only thing. Many of us have come here who have had experiences of the door being shut on the possibility of belonging. And I'm not just talking about church, but in many situations. If we look at the images from yesterday in Brighton with Trans Pride, which grows every year, grows in strength, and it needs to. It needs to ensure that people from the trans community feel that they belong here. But not just belong, they are part of the woven fabric that we're making. So where does the belonging start in terms of being here at this church? My sense is it starts even before we go through those big red doors. Because we're already searching for something, searching for somewhere where we don't have to justify who we are. But once we come in, that's almost where it's different from perhaps another membership that we have with the gym or the choir or the whatever. Because once we start to get comfortable, like Jan Richardson says, and we start to expand our spiritual life, there's a recognition there's so much more work to be done. William Warb talks about doing more than just belonging, doing more than just caring, doing more than just believing. He talks about participation, about help, about practice, and about the hard work. So, how do we create this sense of belonging and then continue to create that space for those who are yet to walk through that door? Especially when we don't believe in the same truths, the same beliefs. Somebody recently asked me about Unitarianism, and they said, I don't get it. I was like, I don't understand how could it stand up? If you put this on paper, it doesn't stand up. You all believe in something different, or you don't particularly believe in a God, but you come together in a community. How does that stand up on paper? I said, come on Sunday and you'll see. You'll see it in action. And that's wonderful. So we're all here in this community, whether they're online or here in church, or some people come to other things during the week but don't come to a Sunday service. We all belong. Then what happens? then the work happens. Because it's not just about where we find a belonging for ourselves. It's how can we be a belonging for others. And I see this every time I take a service. I notice new people coming into the church. And I notice you saying hello, offering them a cup of tea, giving them a chat. And then they start to feel like they do belong here. Some go on to volunteer. Some come and speak to me. Some offer their expertise in other ways. It's a beautiful thing. It's certainly what I was searching for when I came here. But we reach that point where we have to take a risk to connect. To not just connect in our comfortable way, but do the work which is sometimes uncomfortable. With each passing year in this church, we have that ever struggle, concern of who will be courageous enough to not only continue their spiritual path, that takes huge courage, and remain with us, or maybe find somewhere else that's more suited to them, but takes that next step of saying, yes, I'm willing to serve. I'm willing to be part of the shaping of the future of this church. I'm willing to help be part of the decision-making process of what our future may hold. I'm willing to create a sense of belonging that I may never see. All of the jobs here at this church, which you all do, are so important. And I don't want to, in some ways, put one job above another. But what I want to do in this service is to say that actually we create our own future. This is a glorious and amazing thing. And I think sometimes when we come to this church, we forget that. We have the opportunity to shape our future. But that involves doing the unglamorous work, the unglamorous service, the deep responsibility. That responsibility is being part of our committee. Maybe it's part of supporting somebody who's on the committee. I wonder if we just take a moment to think about our sense of belonging. If you're new here, think about maybe another place where you do feel a sense that you are connected. But for those of you who've been around a while, maybe just take a moment and think about, what does that mean? What does it mean for me to belong here? What does it mean for me to offer that in service, to create a space for somebody else to belong? Can we look at these acts of courage? Can we look at the trustees that already are within our church with a sense of respect, with a sense of willingness to support them and carry them through the difficult decisions that they have to make? This church began with 19 dissenters who walked out of a Baptist church and said, we want something different. We want to be able to think for ourselves, to discern for ourselves. 205 years, nearly 206 nearly years later, this is where we are. Still dissenting. But in our dissenting is a need to serve. We all belong here. Whether you are here for the first time or you've been here for 30 years or more, you belong. Maybe in the next days or weeks or months, we can all hold that question. If I felt a sense of belonging being here, how can I support that sense of belonging for our future community? Amen and blessed be. We sing our final hymn. I think it's quite apt. We're all travellers on a journey. So let's sing together. Before our closing words and our blessing, I just want to say that we're doing something slightly different this morning. So once the service has finished, and so we'll play a short piece when I've finished and extinguished the chalice. Simon, our vice chair of the committee, is just going to come and speak to us. And then we'll have notices, then we'll have tea. So these words are by Reverend Margaret Beckham. We belong together and we belong to each other. We are kindred spirits interacting together with love and maybe compassion. We don't always get it right, and there are times when the notion of belonging to each other seems beyond reach or possibly even our sanity. But we come back. We come back to each other because this is where we have found a true belonging, a belonging that connects or reconnects us with the whole of life, with the independent web of existence of which we are part. We come back because we continue to carry with us the notion that here we have the best chance for being and becoming the people we have always aspired to be, and becoming the space where others can be and have always aspired to be. Words by Margaret Beckham. May we always be a belonging for others. Amen.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Jennifer, for the service. And I'm Simon. I'm the current vice chair of the trustees at the church. And I just wanted to talk to you today, following on from the service. Thank you, Jennifer, for the service that we've had from Jennifer, just to outline 2 ways that it's possible to belong more at the church. So we're just going to talk briefly about membership of the church, joining the church, and also talk about the work of the trustees and the committee, just briefly. This church, Brighton Unitarian, is independent. It's an independent charity, and we have our own constitution. So unlike other churches that you may go to, most other churches which are part usually of Church of England or Roman Catholics or whatever, this church is different. We have our own constitution. Now, for that constitution to work, we have to have members, okay? So we need people to join the church to keep the constitution running. I think the problem for some people is that if you're a Unitarian, you maybe don't want to join something. It kind of goes against the grain. Well, we have to say our membership's very flexible. I was going to say laid back, but I thought, it might give the wrong impression. But it's very much, you make your own membership. Being a member, importantly, allows you to vote at our annual general meeting. The annual general meeting is a crucial part of our constitution, and it happens every January. And only members can actually vote at that meeting. Members are really important in the church, and I think I have found that being a member, when I first joined, it gave me a real sense of belonging to the community and to the church. If you're not already a member, then we would seriously ask that you do consider joining the church. It has to be said that unfortunately some Unitarian chapels and churches do close, they do fail, and when that happens, it's usually because the membership has been allowed to go too low. So obviously we don't want that to happen here. At the moment our membership is healthy, but we do need to keep it growing. So we really would ask you to consider becoming a member. If you're interested, then you can speak or email Jennifer, or you can speak to me, or email me, or any other trustee. I think the only other trustee here actually is David, who's gone to make the coffee. So he'll be doing the coffee, so you could perhaps grab him then. So that's the membership. The other thing just to mention is the work of the trustees and the committee. Our constitution, which, as I said, is what keeps us running, requires us to have trustees. At present, we have 7 trustees, and the trustees make up a committee that meets every month, and the job of the committee is basically to manage and maintain the church. This is my 3rd year as a trustee, and I can tell you, my experience of trustee is not always positive. We can't say it's, always going to be glowing and great. It can be quite annoying at times, but I think also, and I can say quite honestly, there are also magical moments that I get from being on the committee, because when something works, you feel you're part of it. I came into the church on a Monday some way back just to collect something from the office. And to get into the church, I had to come through the hall, and Health Pathways to Health was going on in the hall, which is an acupuncture group activity. But, I came in through there, and it was just magical to go through this room full of people, all getting treatment that they need, and to feel that that was something that the committee and the trustees had enabled to happen. So it is hard work being on the committee, but there are also real, you do get a real sense of satisfaction too from playing a part in running this building. Another really important role of the trustees is to support Jennifer and Kat, our administrator, who both work very hard for the building, and without the trustees, they're not able to work. The trustees are elected every year, and there's a long run-in, so there's no election until January 2027 for next year. But anybody who would think about, it's usually people who've been coming to the church for a while who will become trustees. But we would really encourage people who maybe have been coming for a while to think about joining the committee. Obviously, people with specific skills, we welcome those, but we'd also welcome anybody who has a genuine commitment to the church. It's a once monthly meeting. It is quite a lot of emails, but we would really encourage you to think about it. If you're interested, again, you could talk to Jennifer, or you could talk to me, or you could talk to David, or any of the other trustees. So thank you very much. That was all I wanted to say today. Thank you. And to lead in, I think it's going to be Julia doing the notices for us.
Shall I get that out of the way?
That's all right. Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. Thanks again to Jennifer for leading us in the service, to Zoe for lovely piano playing, and Stuart for your usual setting up, and David, just gone to make tea and coffee. Today I'm the designated welcomer, and I'm wearing a badge to kind of prove it. So if anybody is new and would like to sort of introduce themselves or find out more about the church, please ask me. I mean, I may not know the answers, but I can find someone who does. Events during the week. On Wednesday, we have quiet reflection from 1:15 to 2:15, led by Jennifer, isn't it? Sorry? Brian, sorry. Brian is leading it this week. There's teas and coffees from 12:30 to 1 before that. The Friday concert for jazz lovers is quite something this week. We've got the Alex Bondona duo with Just Peach on piano and Alex on the saxophone. And they're going to be playing standards from Abdullah Ibrahim, Horace Silver, and Thelonious Monk, amongst others. So that is a treat, I imagine. And that is from 12:30 to 1:15, approximately. Refreshments, doors open at 12 for refreshments. Next week's service leader is the Reverend Jim Corrigal, who was our former district minister and former district chair of the trustees. And he's also giving a service this afternoon in Lewes at the Cliff Hall. And his subject is Do Not Be Afraid. So everybody's welcome to that if you want a double dose today. There's no Heart and Soul this week, to remind you, so don't try. And you've reminded about card readers over there for anybody who would like to offer a donation by card. There's also some lovely other kind of cards there, which are handmade and recycled and so on, which are worth looking at. And all the proceeds go to the church. And I think that's everything. Unless anybody wants to add anything? Oh, teas and coffees. Teas and coffees, please stay around for teas and coffees. David will be here in a minute. Thank you. Have a good